The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host and their guests do not necessarily reflect those of Para-X, its affiliates, or its sponsors.
All these voices. All these voices. All these things you can't explain. All these painful memories. They keep haunting you and daunting me. It's just a ghost of you and me. It's just a smoke and gasoline. It's just a ghost of you and me. Of you and me.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Staring into the Abyss. I am your host, horror author James Hershey Jr., and with me, as always, my co-host, old boy James Ash. How you doing, brother?
I am doing pretty good. How is everybody tonight?
Tonight's episode is going to be weird. I'm just going to level with you, flat out. It's going to be a weird one. Tonight, we're going to be talking about these damn monoliths that are popping up all over the place. I mean, this stuff is wild. The first one popped up in Utah, out in the desert. And at first, nobody knew what the hell was going on. They thought it was maybe aliens, or they didn't really know what to say. But, I mean, they're all over now. You got them in Utah. You had one in California, in Romania. You had actually another one in a different spot in California as well. One showed up in the Netherlands, in Colombia, England, Spain, Slovenia. I mean, dude, they're everywhere now. So, at first it was like, what the hell are they? Right? When we started seeing it, I remember the first article I saw, I was like, well, that's weird. But I didn't know exactly what it was. I thought maybe it might have been a geomarker of some type that the government put there, or the Park Service or somebody put there to help with GPS or something. But it didn't look like a regular geomarker. So I was like, I don't know, man, it's weird. And then they just started popping up everywhere. So I had a bunch of different articles on this, but it got to the point where there was just too many articles, and it was like it would take the whole hour just to read them all. So we're just going to kind of talk about it instead. So basically, this artist group took responsibility for some of the monoliths. It's this group called the Most Famous Artist Group. There's this dude named Matty Moe, who is one of the members, maybe the leader. And supposedly he took credit for a lot of these monoliths, said that they did them. And what I think is going on is, if that's true, and this group is the ones that have been putting these things up, and it's like some artistic thing, I think what you have now is a lot of copycats. You have a lot of people that are kind of piling on and putting up their own monoliths. The weird thing is, they're not all the same. Some of them are like really shiny, polished metal. And they have like 3 sides, and they're like anchored into the ground. Some of them are mirrored. Like this one at the Isle of Wight, that is one that this Matty Moe guy is not taking credit for. He says he didn't do this one, that his group didn't do it. This one is basically 3 mirrors, 3 long mirrors that are anchored onto some wood that is jammed down into the ground. It looks like the other monoliths, kind of, but it's different because it's like mirrors instead of shiny metal. But I was looking at some of the pictures of these things, and I mean, literally, you have all types. There are like silver ones, there's mirrored ones, there's even a golden one I saw, which is wild. So is this simply something that's being done by this artist group and copycats of that artist group? Because from what I understand, this group has people all over the world. It's like some big group of people that do art stuff. And they were taking credit for it in the beginning. After the original one in the desert, some of the other ones that came up, they started taking credit. Now, there's some discussion on whether they took credit for the original one in the desert or not. I read the interview with the gentleman Matty Moe. And it appeared to me in that interview that he took credit for that one as well, because at the point of the interview, he said that they did them, all of them. But then that one at the Isle of Wight showed up, and he said, well, I didn't do that one. And since then, there's been others that have showed up. And he has essentially said, we've kind of lost control of this thing, that it's kind of grown now, and everybody's just doing them. But the interesting thing is they were selling these things on their website, this artist group was, for 45 grand a piece. You could go on and actually order one of these monoliths. And for $45,000, they would not only sell you the monolith, but they would deliver the monolith to you. And I assume help you set it up. So that could be what we're looking at too, is people buying these things and putting them up. It's possible. There's a lot of moving parts to this, and the story is still developing. So we don't know exactly all the particulars yet as far as what is truly going on here. One thing I'm pretty sure of is it's nothing paranormal that's going on here. It's not aliens that are putting these things down. I think this is a case of people. You know, I think that this artist group put up the first couple as a way to kind of get publicity and get people talking, and then maybe their plan was they were going to sell them, and because they do have them for sale for $45,000 a piece. So maybe that was the plan all along. They're going to put these things up, get people talking about them. It's going to get popular. It's going to go viral, and they're going to sell these things, and you're going to be able to go on and buy them, and they'll deliver them to you and put them up. And maybe it was a business thing. You know, they were trying to make some cash. And now it's gotten to the point where people have just gotten out of control with it. Because people have seen it and they think, for whatever reason, they attach to it and think, oh, that's so awesome. And it becomes like a trend, like a movement where people want to do it. You see it all the time on YouTube. I mean, you got all these dumb YouTube challenges when they were eating Tide Pods and putting ice on their and salt on their arm and setting themselves on fire and all kinds of dumb stuff that they do. You'll have somebody come on and do it, and then a bunch of idiots will see it and think, oh, that's great, let's do that. And then next thing you know, you got just thousands and thousands of people doing this thing. And it's, honestly, it makes no sense because it's dumb. The thing that they're doing is just stupid. But they do it anyway. And I don't exactly understand that phenomenon, but it is what it is, man. It happens. You got people that will follow and will do whatever it is they see because they think it's cool. And maybe that's partially what we got going on here. You know, these monoliths got put up. It kind of went viral. People got into it. And now you got people doing their own. I mean, it's not a very complicated thing to put up. Literally, all it is 3 pieces of metal attached to some wood. Now, it looks real nice because they polished the metal up, but in reality, you could build this with sheet metal. You know, some of these are made with, like, mirrors. So it's not like something that is impossible to build. I could build one of these myself if I wanted to, probably. So I imagine that a lot of these that we're seeing now are just copycats. They're just people that saw the original work that was done by this artist group and thought, that's awesome. I'm going to do one of those here. And maybe they get a kick out of it. They set it up in their area or whatever, and people see it, and then everybody starts talking about it. And they can kind of kick back and be proud of the fact that they started this in their area. I don't know. That's my thoughts on it. Is I don't think it's anything paranormal. I don't think it's aliens. I don't think it's any mystery to it. I think it's just people. I think it was done as a way to make a statement of some sort in the beginning. Because you know how those artsy-fartsy people are, man. They always want to make statements with their art. And they do dumb things. I have nothing against art. Let me say that right away. I love a good painting. You know, I like Thomas Kincaid stuff. Bob Ross was awesome. I love watching that dude. I like nature painting, stuff like that. But that's not the kind of art I'm talking about when I talk about the artsy-fartsy crowd. I'm talking about all these abstract people that will put like urine in a jar and sit it on a stool, and that's art somehow. Or they'll paint a square next to a circle, next to a triangle. Oh, it's modern art. It's garbage, man. Most of this art is absolute crap. I don't understand it. It makes no sense. It's garbage. It's not pretty. It's not good to look at, but it's supposed to make you feel something or whatever the hell these people say. It's crap. Those people will put something up like this as a way to make a statement about the world or whatever. And then other people that are all highfalutin and artsy will pretend like it actually means something. Because you have a lot of that in the art world too, where you'll look at a painting that's just absolute crap. It's like a circle and a line. That's all it is. And these people will actually stand in front of it and pretend like there's some big meaning to it. Oh, I wonder what this means. And then one person will look at the other person and say, well, you know, the artist was trying to make a statement about less fortunate children in Africa that went through the war and blah, 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 blah. Some nonsense, right? And then the other person that originally said something, oh, yeah, I can see that. It makes complete sense. I get that. I can see that 100%. And then somebody else will walk up and they'll say, oh, I wonder what this means. Oh, well, this is what it means. And then they'll tell them like they already knew it, right? It's that garbage. It's complete crap. It's a circle and a line. That's all it is. And it has no deeper meaning, and y'all are full of crap. That's my opinion. If it's a pretty picture, something I like to look at, nice picture of a mountain, waterfall, lake scene, something pretty that makes you happy to look at, cool. But a lot of this quote-unquote modern art is complete crap. And I think that's what we have here, is we have people that originally started to make some sort of statement with their art and also to try to make some cash out of it. That's obvious because they're selling these things. If they weren't trying to make cash off this, then they wouldn't be selling them on their website. And now, for whatever reason, the follow crowd that is the world today have taken to this and thought that, hey, this is a cool thing and we're all going to do it. And that's what you got going on here. At least that's what I think. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw over to Old Boy and I'm going to get his opinion on this because he's been following this really closely as well. And I'd like to hear what he has to say about it. He probably won't agree with what I said about it, and that's okay. We don't often agree completely on things, and that's perfectly cool. But I'll be interested to find out what he thinks. So, Old Boy, go ahead, brother.
Well, thank you, brother. Actually, I'm going to have to 100% agree with you. I think the monolith is probably a big fraud. I mean, it's happening. I think what's going on is somebody did it. Well, I think it was in Utah, then it was in Romania, and then it's in copycatted in California. I think it was in Arizona. We have all this still going, and I think there's more to it. I think it's trying to be I don't know what the motivation is. It's not alien. I'm going to tell you right now. I'm not going to say that. I mean, there may be a possibility the first one was, but I don't even think that happened. I think somebody was doing it. People caught on. And I live in Victorville, so somebody took a shed, like a piece of metal shed, and made a meme out of it on Facebook and said, look, there's one of those things here in Victorville, and everybody started laughing. I just wanted to talk about it because everybody's talking about it. It's like a popular subject. So I picked it because everybody's been talking about it and keeps coming up everywhere. I know there's one in California. There was one in, I think, Georgia now. There's one in Paris. It's just people are copycatting. And that biggest art group of the world, they did it. And it was cool the first time. And like now it's like a fad. And like James, to me, the same thing. You know, I see some art and I get it. Art's beautiful, and I think what it is it's for people to try to make money. So you have people, it could be splats of paint everywhere, and I'm going to pay $50,000 for that, and it happens, guys. I mean, there's art like pretty pictures and stuff like that, and I get it, and I totally, you have your First Amendment right to express yourself, especially with art, and art doesn't have to be a painting. It could be something different. It could be a model. It could be a movie. It could be music. It could be anything. And I like certain art. And there's some I just don't get how people are making money off of it. and it looks like a kid can go and spat paint everywhere, and somebody's going to get mad, I know, and you don't know what you're talking about. You and that hillbilly, you know what? Whatever you want to think, I'm far from hillbilly. I live where this art stuff is popular. I live an hour and a half away from LA, guys, and Hollywood, and Beverly Hills. So trust me, I know what art is. I'm around it. We have some of the biggest museums in the world. So I know what art is, and I've seen it, and I know what I'm talking about. But just because I don't care for something and James doesn't care for something means it's wrong. We just don't understand it, but I get it. Some people do. Some people have a different mindset than other people do. They could see something that I don't see. You could put a paint and put blotches everywhere, and somebody could say, "Oh, it just looks like a mess," and then somebody says, "Oh, it looks like there's a crane flying over the ocean." And I'm telling you, it can happen. Or a cat playing with a dog. I'm just showing you examples, and and this is my opinion. But I actually agree with James on this one. I think it's a joke. I just wanted to talk about it because it's something that's everybody's talking about right now, and they're even making fun of. It's a joke to me. So, I mean, like I said, it's just somebody doing it. Just like crop circles, I believe that some of them are real, but 90% of them are not. And just so I brought that up, that's another show we can do in the future, because we haven't done anything about crop circles. That's something, James, just so you know, that I just thought about it. We probably never even talked about in the last 3 years we've done a show, is crop circles. So there we got a show for the next time, guys. But on to this one, I think it's just people being artsy, and now it's getting copycat, and now it's getting famous on Facebook, and no one would ever hear about this ever if Facebook and Instagram and all these stuff didn't exist now. And that's the only reason stuff like this is getting popular. Just like people marrying dolls and stuff. And people are seeing all this stuff has been going on, but now you're seeing it because now they're going out. And I really believe people are doing some of this to become famous and get some recognition. I think that this day and age, that's a big thing. Everybody wants to be famous. And this is where I'm going. It still has to do with what we're talking about. But I think that's what this whatever it is they were doing is something about to get famous and get some recognition. And people start copying it. So it got famous. So it's just like everything. Some painting, it looks really nice. But other people think it's really nice, then it gets money. So it's just another prop to make money. That's what my personal opinion is. This is just copycatting and people making money out of it. That's what everybody wants to do, is get 15 minutes of fame. That's why it's hard to do the paranormal stuff. Me and James have kind of walked away from it right now. I mean, yeah, because of coronavirus, because everybody wants to be famous with the paranormal thing or crypto. And some of the people in the field we just don't deal with. So I'm not going to get into that, but that's some of the reason. But I'm going on this whole thing. I think it's some of it to become rich or famous. And I think that's what everybody's obsessed with in this day and age now, is becoming rich and famous, but they don't want to work at it and don't want to get anywhere. They think it's just going to fly out of their hands, and the stork's going to drop millions of dollars because somebody saw them on YouTube. You see it all the time. And some of these guys who used to make a lot of money on YouTube now aren't making money anymore because people are copied them 20 million times, and it's hard to do. I mean, what's going to be next? I mean, somebody going to get a pan and a couple cups and put them together and put it on in Italy somewhere, and then people are going to copy it. I'm telling you right now, it's just how it is. And 90% of people don't even know what it really is, and they probably, oh, look, it's aliens popped it on there, because I know that's what's going around, is the alien thing, and they're not aliens. Trust me, it's all man-made in my opinion this time. I'm sorry, James, I actually 100% agree with you. Do I believe that it's about money and recognition? That's what I believe. That's my opinion. Maybe that's the only thing we want to agree on it. I mean, I just think that somebody's trying to make a statement because of everything that's going on. I don't know what it's supposed to mean. That's another thing. I don't know what this is supposed to mean or anything. Maybe you can, after I'm done talking, you can tell me what you think this could be about. But I don't even know why they would do it. I mean, like I said, the only reason is to get exposure on everything to get famous. And that's the only reason I think they did it. I think maybe the first time they did it as an art thing, and then everybody's copying it now. They got what they wanted out of it. They got their 15 minutes fame. People will talk about it for another couple weeks, and then it'll go away, and something else will happen. UFO will get recorded again over the White House or something, and then they'll say it doesn't exist when they have a million different times this happened. The thing I've noticed is people like to live in a lie, especially when it comes here, because everybody just wants to believe, I think, don't want to know the truth. Even if it's true or not, they don't want to know the truth. I don't think anybody wants to hear that anymore, even if it's happening or not happening. Even if you had the truth, I don't think people are going to care. They're going to try to say it's not true. That's what and I think that we keep falling for that, but it's not working anymore. That's why we have millions of shows like we do. Nothing's really like me and James, but people try to be like me and James on the radio and other people. And there's a lot of good other channels and podcasts. I'm not saying that, but there's millions of them now. When we first started doing this, like, it wasn't a lot of people doing crypto, and now it blew up. So ghost shows, everybody was doing those, and that was probably at the peak at the time. But now that's why we throw history and conspiracy theories, but everybody's doing that now. God, no one was talking about the Pug Wudgie a couple years ago. Now everybody's talking about it. Now it's becoming famous. We talked about it 2 or 3 years ago. So I'm just saying, like, this is why we do these different shows, because it's always going to be the same thing. You know, we're not going to talk about aliens every day and ghost. We're going to try to do stuff different, and that's what we've been trying to do. And that's why we keep an audience for over 3 years. I mean, YouTube's making it hard with the monetization they do, but that's just life. It's happening to everybody. It's a YouTuber. If they don't like what you're putting on, then they yank it. They were also putting too many commercials. We found a way to get through that too. But there's just a lot of stuff that's going on. The YouTube isn't what it used to be like it was a couple years ago. Too many people try to get money off of it, and still do. I mean, a lot of stuff that you see going around, people yelling and screaming, they'll fake that they're crazy. I saw, there's a couple guys that pretend they're crazy, and they got millions of people watching them, but to come and find out they're just doing it as a show. But people watch it because they think it's funny. A lot of people like to see other people, for some reason, do dumb stuff. And it's crazy to me. Me and James have talked about this numerous times, just like with this art stuff. My opinion is, the first time was cool. You know, it was something different. They did it in Romania. They would have kept going on different areas, but then people have to ruin everything because they have to try to outdo somebody or try to copy them. Dude, get your own. Well, I guess you can't get your own thing. Everybody does something that we've already done, so you can't do anything about that. We're always going to copy somebody. So I see get your own idea is what I was trying to say. I think it's a cool story, but it's nothing other than that. It's just to get fame. That's my opinion. But there you go, James.
As far as what a motive could be for this, because old boy asked the question, why would they do this? I think a lot of it probably has to do with money, to be honest with you, because I keep going back to the fact that they are selling these things for $45,000. Now, they're not going to sell thousands of them, not at that price. But at that price, they really don't need to. I mean, they sell a couple of them. That's a good amount of money. I don't understand why they would think that they're going to make $45,000 off one of these things. To me, that makes no sense. But that's what they're charging. But let's try to play devil's advocate for a second. And let's ask ourselves, because old boy said that one of the main theories that was going around about this was that it was aliens that was putting these things down. So let's ask ourselves why. Why would aliens do that? If it was aliens that were putting these things down, these monoliths, what would be the point? What purpose would they serve? They could be an antenna of some of some sort. Some kind of like a lightning rod, so to speak, that can collect energy. Something along those lines, possibly. It would have to be something that was important enough to warrant them putting it there in the first place. But then you have to look at the fact that each time one of these things gets put up, it gets taken back down pretty quickly. Whether it's the Park Service or whatever, somebody comes along and pulls these things down. They don't last very long. So if aliens put them there, then you would have to rationally surmise that there was a good reason why the aliens felt it necessary to do so. So why wouldn't they defend them? And I think that's a very important point. If aliens put them there, that means they had to have a reason to put them there. So they wouldn't very well allow you to just come along and just knock them over and break them all to hell, would they? If it was important enough to put them there in the first place and leave physical evidence that you're here, the reason had to be good enough for them to do that. So why would they allow you to just come and knock them down? Do you believe that they have the technology to travel from thousands of light years away to here, but they're not going to stop you from knocking over their little metal thing? Why wouldn't they? They can't be afraid of us. So I just don't buy the alien theory. I think it's nonsense. What would be the motivation for the aliens? Why would they put them there? And why now? They've been here all this time. Aliens have. We have reports of aliens going all the way back to the 40s in Roswell and before. Why now? We've never had this before. Why now? Could it be that these things are some sort of gateway? Would that be why they put them down? Maybe it opens up a wormhole that allows more people to come through. But if that's the case, once again, if you're going to set up a gate, wouldn't you defend it? Why would you allow it to be ripped down so easily? Now, see, when I was looking over all these articles and trying to figure this out before the artist group took credit for it, I was asking questions like that of myself. I was researching it and I was looking into it and I was saying, well, why would this happen? Why would somebody do this? If this is some sort of ancient technology, which is another theory that was out there in the beginning, that this is some ancient Stargate kind of technology that has been in the desert for all this time, we're just now finding it. That got blown away really quickly because all of a sudden they started appearing everywhere after like a week. So there's been a lot of theories about what these things are and why they're there. A lot of those theories have been kind of scrapped because that group came out and claimed that they were doing it. Now, all we know for certain is that they have claimed responsibility and that they are selling these things. Do I know 100% sure that they actually did set them up? No, I don't. I have not seen video of them actually setting them up. But they're saying they set them up and they're selling them on their site, so that's good enough for me to say that, yeah, probably they set them up. They never did really tell why they set them up. They didn't give any good reason. So if I'm left to my own devices to try to figure this out, I'm going to kind of stick with what I said, that I think this was partially to be some kind of artistic statement and partially to try to make a little bit of cash off these things if they caught on. I don't really understand why people got so enamored with this. In the beginning, yes, I get it, because it's something new and it's something weird. And you're like, where did this thing come from? Is this an alien? What's going on? Who put this here? and it's mysterious and it's kind of cool. But now it's just it's jumped the shark, so to speak. It's kind of hokey because now they're popping up all over the place, and they're all kinds of different ones, and it's just kind of a parody of what it was. In the beginning, it was really interesting because nobody knew what the hell was going on with it. And even I was like, wow, what the hell, I had that kind of that BS detector inside that goes off when stuff like this happens, and I'm like, I don't think that's real. That spidey sense was tingling from the very beginning because I was like, what's the purpose of this? And then once they came and they ripped it down, I was like, well, obviously that couldn't have been something that aliens put up because they ripped it down and nobody stopped them. So if this was something aliens did, the aliens would have tried to stop them, wouldn't they? If it was something that the government put there, if this is part of some secret black book project, which I heard that theory in the beginning as well, well, they wouldn't have allowed just some rando dudes to come knock it down. And that's happened multiple times in multiple locations. Just people just come along and just trashed it, tore it to pieces, and moved on with their life. So I don't know, man. This one, like I said, it's weird. It's absolutely weird. But I think this is just an example of when something kind of goes out of control. It gets popular and people kind of run with it. I mean, you see these fads all the time, and you never exactly know what's going to take off, what's going to become super popular and be the next thing that everybody's really, really into. In my lifetime, there's been a lot of them. I mean, from the very beginning, we're talking like pet rocks, man. What's the deal with that? That was super popular at one time when I was a little kid. Pet rocks were a thing. Like, you would go buy a pet rock, and it would be like Christmas for you or something, getting this pet rock. And I never understood that, but it was super popular. You had like all kinds of stuff like that comes and goes, these little fads. I'm not going to list them all because who cares? But I think that's kind of where this is headed. It's kind of gotten out of control. And the funny thing is, it's going to keep going. And then all of a sudden, everybody will just forget about it. They'll just all kind of turn around and say, that's so dumb. You're still doing that? You're still doing the monolith thing? Oh, man, that's so 2020. And they'll be on to some other goofy thing they want to do. Some of these fads have just blown me away. The Tide Pod thing, I just did not understand at all. Now, granted, I'm an old hillbilly, like old boy was saying, but I don't understand why the hell do you eat laundry detergent? That never made any sense to me. Who looks at a Tide Pod and thinks, I'm going to eat that? First of all, why would you think that it's edible in the first place? That it's not going to hurt you? Second of all, what would possibly possess you to think that eating that is a good idea? But for whatever reason, there was a lot of young people doing that. That was a definite thing that happened. And I don't understand that at all. Now, one of the meanest things that I've seen out of all these little fads and challenges on YouTube was the one with the salt and the ice. For those who don't know what that is, they put like ice and salt on their arm, and there's a reaction that happens, and it burns like really, really bad. And it was actually injuring children, because a lot of these people that were doing this were little kids. And what would happen was people would talk them into doing it. It was like a lot of times with you doing like stuff where you have a chat room, and the people would be trying to get them to do it and filming it, and then they put it online. And every time I saw something like that, I was like, oh, please don't do that. That's not a good idea. That's really going to hurt you, But that was something that everybody was doing for some reason. Another one that I actually enjoyed and thought was really funny was the hot sauce challenges. That was super popular for a while, where people would do like the one chip challenge. And this is where they had like ghost pepper chip was like the hottest chip in the world. and it like came in like a little black coffin when you bought it, and people would eat that and then film their reaction to it. And it was people that were doing that with the Carolina Reaper pepper and just all kinds of stuff like that, where they would get whatever the hottest pepper in the world was at the time, or the hottest chip in the world, or the hottest cookie or piece of chocolate. I saw that too. And they would eat it, and then basically what would happen is they would snot all over themselves and cry and scream and holler and run around and be in intense pain because they ate something that is crazy hot. And it was hilarious to watch, but it was also it was interesting, but it was sad at the same time because you're sitting here watching these people put themselves through just unspeakable agony, because that is a lot of pain when you eat like a Carolina Reaper. That's a hell of a lot of pain. That goes beyond like a hot thing. That's not like you have hot wings and eat them. This is next level hot. This is like burns your tongue for a long, long time, does actual physical damage to your body. And then when you swallow that and it goes into your system, it does damage all the way through you. And then the next day or the day after, when you go to the bathroom, you got lava coming out your rear. Okay, that's not a good thing. So not only these people are putting themselves through that pain initially, but they've got that pain for a couple days to deal with. Now, granted, it's not constant, but still. And you have to understand before you do something like that what you're in for. At least a little bit. Like, these people have watched other people do it. That's where they got the idea to do it in the first place. They said, oh, that was funny. Look how many views that got. I'm going to copy that and do it myself. And that's basically probably how the majority of people that do these things get the idea to do them, is they see somebody else do them. So you had to have seen somebody else going through all that pain and suffering. And then to turn around and do it yourself is lunacy. I think it's crazy. I don't understand it at all. Now, I talked earlier a little bit about art and stuff, and I am not an art aficionado. I don't know a great deal about art. I don't really get into art all that much, to be honest with you. As I said, I like nature scenes. I like a good mountain scene or something like that. That's why I like Bob Ross, because he painted a lot of like trees and mountain scenes and stuff like that, and I'm into that. That's kind of the way I live. I'm a mountain guy. I live out in wilderness, so I enjoy that kind of stuff. But I am by no means an art critic. So take my opinion on art with a gigantic grain of salt, because I don't know anything about art, really. And I'm cool with not knowing anything about art because I don't care about it. But I think that a lot of it is ridiculous. And a lot of it is fake, to be honest with you. I think it's people that take themselves too seriously, and it's people that have to pretend like they understand what this other person was doing when they don't really. Because if they are honest and they say, yeah, I just don't get it. It's a square and a line, or a circle and a line, or a triangle, or whatever. It's not art. It looks like something somebody did in kindergarten. It's stupid. If they say that, then the other people look at them like they're uncultured swine. You're just not sophisticated enough to understand. That crap. It's all nonsense, if you ask me. But I'm not an art guy, so. And that being said, there's some super cool art out there. I've seen videos of people that are doing some amazing things. And some of it is not my cup of tea, but it doesn't have to be my cup of tea for me to appreciate the talent behind it. And I think for me, that's where I draw the line, what it really boils down to. If there is a talent involved there, right? If what you're doing is beautiful and it takes a real talent to do it, then I get it. Even if I don't like it, I understand that's art. If you're just making a square on a paper, it's something that a kindergarten kid can do. If it's like that, and some of this stuff that's popular, I don't get it. I think it's garbage. And keep in mind, I mean, like Old Boy said, there's all kinds of different art. You got music, you got writing, you got painting, drawing, even photography. I even consider some photography as art because I've seen some pictures that people have taken that are breathtaking. I mean, they're just unbelievable. Where they'll take like a picture of the sunset or something like that, and it just blows me away. So even that I consider as art. But to me, I think it has to be something that requires talent to do. And some of this stuff just doesn't. But anyway, like I said, that's my opinion, and everybody's entitled to one, and most of them aren't right. So take it with a grain of salt. Let me know down in the comments what you think about that, if you agree with that or not. Have you ever looked at some of these modern art pieces and thought, what the hell, this ain't art, this is goofy. This is dumb. Because I'm pretty sure everybody's done that. I'm just pretty sure that not a lot of people will say it. Not a lot of people will admit to that because, one, they're afraid of pissing somebody off and then that person running their mouth. That happens a lot. And two, I think there's definitely a sense of you don't want to be the one to say, I don't get it. Because then people that also don't get it but are pretending to get it will say, oh, you're uncultured, you're unsophisticated, you're just a dumb hillbilly, you don't get it. I think that has a lot to do with it too, where people are afraid to say, I don't get it. With these monoliths, I think you have a little bit of that too. A little bit of all of what I've just been talking about is involved here. I think you have like a trend, like a fad, something that has caught on and is super popular and everybody's kind of piling on now. I think that's the point we're getting to with this. And I also think there's definitely an artistic slant to this. I think that this was an artistic statement in the beginning. And I don't exactly understand what the point of it was, but it feels like that's right. It feels like this was meant to be art. Now, I don't exactly know what it means, but I don't know what most art means, to be honest with you. So I think that's what it is, though. I think that's how it started. And I think it's just kind of went from that to everybody wanting to pile on to it and be a part of it and do their own thing. So I'm going to throw it back over to Old Boy and see what he thinks of my little synopsis here. And then we'll go ahead and get his shout outs and everything, and we'll wrap up.
Thank you, brother. Again, the monolith, I think, is just, like I said, I agree with you. It's about money. Pretty much I agree with you on that part. Like you said, please leave your comments about what you think this is and what your opinion is. It's probably going to be something about the alien, and I don't believe it. And another thing is, we were going to do this show last week, but we found something else, so it kind of lost its steam a little bit because it's now they're trying to make money off of them, sell them. If they were going to just do the whole alien thing, why didn't they just do it once? Like a couple weeks later, somewhere else. A couple weeks later, months later, somewhere else. It would have made it more intriguing. But now, because everybody's doing it now, it's lost its steam. Everybody's starting to see it's a joke. It's them to make money, and they're trying to sell 45,000. And the sad thing is, when you're saying who's going to buy it, there's going to be somebody who buys it. Jerry, trust me. Somebody's going to buy it. More than one person are going to buy it. And then in like a year, no one's going to care about it anymore. It's going to be something else. It's going to be like a goat on a windmill or something. I'm trying to make a joke out of it. You know what I mean? It's going to be something else. Maybe a tent, alien sat on top of a tent or something. This was a big joke. It's fun. It's a cool story. And like I said, I was intrigued at first, and now it's just got stupid. Because they showed him hurrying up and taking him down, and people are trashing him. That's what I'm saying. So people, if they were going to be original, they should have just did what I said. Just do it once every couple months. Somewhere else. You did it in Utah, then do it in the other side of the country, New York, and then do it once in Europe, then do it in China. 6 months later down the line, do it in Antarctica on top of the mountain. It would have been a great story then. Who the hell is going to go in the middle of the snowstorm and put it up? Think about it, guys. This was just a good one to do because a lot of people are talking about it. A lot of people are falling for it. And a lot of people think it's going to be art. And, I'm not no expert of art either. Just like James was saying, I don't know what's good or, like I said, I'm just a nomad. That's what I call myself because it's what I've been. I lived the gypsy life, nomad life for the last 20 years. So I'm just a dumb, what would they call it? Nomad. So I don't care what anybody says. And that's just our opinion. We're not big fancy art people. It's not our thing. It's not we're against it or we have anything issues with it. We're just not into it. It's just not our thing. It's something we're not ever going to go out and buy. I'll buy a picture here and there or something cool, but I don't really care about art. Not saying it's not important. I care about like movies and stuff like, because I said art's not just about painting pictures. There's anything pretty much can be art. So I like art in general, but like pictures and stuff, I just never got into that. And paintings, I think it's awesome. I wish I had the skills to do that. I mean, it's great. Nothing I have against it. It just I'm not into it. Neither is James. It's just something he's just not interested in. If you tell him a Bigfoot's running through a creek, he's more interested. So would I be? If you're telling him that Mars, you saw something in Mars, he's more interested. Or space modules and stuff like that, and so he's going to be more interested in a painting of Leonardo da Vinci did. I mean, other people are going to care because it was worth millions of dollars. I mean, trust me, I wouldn't mind having the painting, and I would have been rich. But other than that, and I don't. Back then people did it because there was no TVs and stuff. I mean, there's people who do it still, but back then, those times, that was something to see. You didn't see people paint like that, so it was awesome. But now you see it after 100 times, you're like, yeah, I already seen it. It's like everything; we lose our interest real quick. Things don't last forever, that, and we just lose our attention spans. That's why a lot of shows don't last. I mean, some will, like The Simpsons, I'm surprised. 30, 40 years, 30 years, I think it is. 31, 34, I don't remember. I'm just throwing out numbers. But that's still going. So, I mean, you never know. It's got to be something that people want to watch. But, there's nothing else I really have to say about it. I mean, I'm just trying to think why. Now I know why, pretty much because of money. Or fame. Or get their name out there. Look, the aliens dropped this off. No, they didn't. You made it. And they're trying to make thousands of dollars off of it. So, I mean, next they'll be like they'll get two broomsticks or something and tape them together and put it on a rock and say that, the lizard people stopped there and put them on there. And then and you know what? The sad thing is somebody's going to do it. Just like the pod thing. I don't know how eating detergent, why that was cool. Just like burning yourself on the stoves, those hot stoves, and burn your arm on it to get a permanent scar. It was stupid. Like the ice bucket challenge, I understood that because it was for a cause, but I remember that got fatted. I know what he's talking about. The kids tripping each other. The one guy would go from the other side and trip the kid when he was talking to him, and make him fall on his face or something. It was stupid. Kick the leg out. Or the ones where they're singing a song and they're driving, or somebody else is driving, they're dancing while the car goes slow. Or the one guy got out of his car and he tripped and his car smashed into something. That was funny because people were trying to be like everybody thinks they're movie stars all of a sudden. It's funny. I get a kick out of it because I see it all the time. But that's all I got to say, James. There you go.
What's sad though is like you'll have something that comes out that's interesting. Okay, let's take that car thing where they would get out of the car and dance beside it and then get back in. The first time that was done, it was interesting and it was funny. It was dumb, but it was interesting and funny too. Because you're like, dude, what are you doing? And then you start laughing because they're like dancing all silly and get back in the car. So whoever came up with that and did it first, it's brilliant. It's stupid, but it's brilliant. But then what happens is you have thousands and thousands of people that see it and copy it and do it on film over and over and over again. It just gets done to death. And then it jumps the shark and it's done. That is a problem that we've always had, if you think about it, in our society for a long, long time. This predates YouTube videos and everybody thinking they're a celebrity. This started, I think, with the movie studios, because they would make a movie and it would do well. So then they would make 1,000 other movies exactly like it, the same exact kind of thing. Back then it was like Westerns. If they had a Western and it did really, really well, they would make a ton of other Westerns just like it. And then you ended up with all of these movies that were just bleh, you know? They weren't great. They weren't terrible. They were just there. And they're still doing that today. You have it like a vampire movie will come out. And then every movie after that is vampire, 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 vampire until people get sick of it. And they stop going to see it because the movies suck and they're bored with it. And then next thing will be zombies. And then everybody's into zombies. And then every damn movie and show is all zombie, 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 zombie. And then people get tired of it. And they stop checking it out. They stop making money off of it. So then they move on to whatever else. Whatever the next thing is. And they'll do that until it's dead. And then they move on to the next thing. That's kind of the way the paranormal has gotten anymore, honestly. Is you had so many people that just piled on and kept doing the same things that everybody else was doing. And the public has just gotten tired of it. Hell, I've gotten tired of it, to be honest with you. You know, I'm tired of seeing the same crap over and over and over again. I'm tired of I don't even watch ghost shows anymore. None of them. Like, none of those paranormal shows, I don't even watch them on TV anymore. Because they're boring as hell. It's the same crap over and over and over again. And then you have 1,000 of these shows on. There's like paranormal whatever, caught on tape, or my paranormal experience story, blah, blah, blah. And it's all the same crap. It's somebody sits down and talks about a ghost story, and it's like a recreation of what happened to that person. It's boring as hell. It's all the same crap. And then you have all these people that are quote unquote paranormal experts now who will get on and show all these pictures that they took and all this evidence. One thing you have is people will put up a picture of just a room, right? It's just a room, nothing special about it. And they'll say, this is this room. I wanted to know if you see anything in it, if you're picking up anything. Like somehow I'm supposed to magically look at a picture of an empty room and somehow psychically connect to the picture and tell you exactly what ghost is there and the whole backstory. It's goofy as hell. But you see it all the time in these paranormal groups. You see anything here? You picking up anything from this? Well, no, I'm not picking up anything. It's a damn picture. It makes no sense. Another thing you have is people putting up their evidence, which is photographs or video, and the overwhelming majority of their quote-unquote evidence is not actual evidence at all. It's like dust or a bug floating past the screen or something. But what they will say is, oh, it's absolute perfect proof that there's a demon in the picture and he's come for your children and you better hide and call the Pope and get underneath the pew at church and make sure that nobody gets out because the demon will kill you. These people are a joke, man. It's ridiculous. The paranormal field is getting to the point where it's jumped the shark. It's just ridiculous. Now, this is what will happen. Soon, all these shows will fail because nobody cares about it anymore because it's garbage. All these people that aren't actual paranormal people will leave the paranormal field and they're going to go do whatever the next thing is. Underwater basket weaving or midget bungee jumping or whatever the hell the next goofy thing is. They're going to be on it because they think they're going to make a buck. So they'll be gone out of the field. What'll be left are the actual researchers, the people that are really trying to do something. They'll be left because we were here before and we'll be here after. And the field will actually get serious again. And we'll actually get something done until somebody discovers something important or gets a really, really good piece of evidence. And what will happen is that will catch everybody's attention again. And then people will start paying attention to the paranormal field again and say, whoa, did you see that? And then what will happen is these people will see that it's starting to become popular. And then you'll have all of these hanger-ons and all these pile-on people come who think they're going to get famous and think they're going to get rich. And they're going to be the next big ghost hunter star. And they're going to put a bunch of crap out, and it's going to make people hate the paranormal again, and then they'll all go away again. It's a cycle. And it happens not just with the paranormal field, it happens with every damn thing in our society, everything. Because what happens is you have a few people that actually have talent and actually have the ability to do something great. And then you have a bunch of nobodies, and never will be anybody's, who want to pile on and pretend that they are some amazing whatever. And then everybody sees through them, and there you have it. It's a crazy phenomenon. I don't understand it at all, but there it is. That's what people do, and that's what's going on. And that's it. That's the end of this episode. I hope that you enjoyed it. I'm sure that you will leave your comments down below. I am anxious to see them. Please be gentle on me. It is 2020 after all. Everybody likes to use that excuse, so why not, right? I'm going to throw over to Old Boy and get his final shout-outs.
Thank you, brother. You have a great night. I hope everybody had a fun time listening on Parax Radio. Thank you. Subscribe to us on James Hershey's YouTube page. You guys want to get some shirts or mugs or covert masks? We have the t-shirt shop. He'll tell you where to go. Our merchandise, sorry. If you guys want to buy some merch, we got merch. You can get shirts, covert masks, cups, whatever. Go check it out. He'll tell you where to go after I'm done. Leave your comments, guys. I'm trying to make it as quick as I can because we're running out of time. So I hope you guys have a good night. Misfits, sugar ladies, monster hunters, and demon lovers. I love you and blessed be, and have a great night.
Hope you all enjoyed the show. So with that being said, until I speak to you again, love many, trust few, and do harm to none. God loves you, and so do we. Bye-bye.